Hello there everyone. Welcome to this course Responsive Web Layout with CSS Grid. This is second course in this session. If you haven't watched first video, its URL is in the description. In previous session, we have covered these grid properties. In this session, we will be seeing area, alignment and justification properties. So let's begin with grid area. In previous session, we learned that grid area can be defined using properties such as grid column start, grid column end, grid row start, grid row end, or we can also use something called as grid column and grid row. There is one more alternative property for area called as grid area. Let's see how we can use that. So beginning with the main head, let me uncheck all these properties and define grid area. So first parameter will be grid row start forward slash grid column start forward slash grid row end grid column end. As you can see, the output result is same as previous one. Similarly, let's define main nav as well. Let's uncheck these two columns and define grid area. Now remember the flow. First parameter will be grid row start, then grid column start, then grid row end, then grid column end. See how easy it is. Again, let's try for content. Let's uncheck these two columns. Grid area. First parameter will be grid row start, then grid column start, then grid row end, then grid column end. As we can see, results are exactly similar. And grid is also responsive like previously defined properties. Let's try for side. First parameter will be grid row start, then column start, then row end, then column end. And the last one, footer. So just follow the sequence. First will be grid row start, then grid column start, after that row end, after that column end. See how easy it is to use grid area. But problem with this syntax is it loses readability because it's really difficult to remember order. So instead of defining area with line number, we can also define area with name and then specify the location of that area in the value of grid property called as grid template areas. Now let's see how we can do that. You might be able to recall from previous session that this is just a basic HTML and we haven't applied any CSS properties yet. I have used this fresh template just to see how we can use grid area with names. Let's start applying grid properties. Remove border, height 100%, display grid, grid template columns. We have defined our grid using 12 column system. Now let's see how we can place these atoms in their proper position. Let's define grid area. Sometime before we have used line number to define our grid area. So we have provided parameters like row start, row end and then column end. But now we'll be using name as a grid area. Here you can use any name you want, but for this demo I will be using name as the class name. You can use any name which you want, but for this example I am using class name. So we have completed assigning name to all of our areas. Now it's turn to place these atoms in their place. This can be done by using grid template areas property. Input to the grid template areas will be grid areas which we defined earlier. And to show the syntax, let me pull Notepad++. Let's define our first row. We want to span head for 12 columns and one row. So we'll take this area name, write it for 12 times. Main navbar we want to span for 3 columns and 2 rows. So take area name. For new row we'll add one new line and write it for 3 times because we want to span it for 3 columns. Again 3 times. So it will create structure having first row as main head, second row having 3 columns as main nav, and third row also 3 columns main nav. After that we want to place our content for 7 columns. So copy this area name, write it for 7 times. Sidebar will be for 2 columns 1 row. Copy grid area, place for 2 columns and 1 row. After that add again 2 columns 1 row. Now last line, main footer. Copy main footer and repeat it for 12 times. Don't worry about this new line. This new line is appearing because I enabled word wrap over here. But as you can see, the structure is exactly identical to which we want to place the atoms. So we want to create the 4 rows, and first row will be main head, last row will be footer. Navbar will be spanned for 3 columns, content will be for 7 columns, and sidebar and add will be on right hand side. So copy all these properties, assign this value to grid template areas. As you can see, result is exactly same as our previous tutorial. You can add indentation to these strings as well. In the end, the result will look something like this, and as you can see, we can clearly see how many columns are present and what content spanned over which column. It's very verbose and easier to read. If you want to add empty cells in the row, then you can use period for that. So let's try on the footer. So now as we can see, the first 2 cells are empty cells. I really like to use grid area and grid template areas property because it's verbose and easy to understand. So till now we have learned 3 alternatives property to define grid area. We started with grid column start, end, grid row start, end. After that we learned grid column, grid row, and the last we have learned grid area. There is no standard you should use in this or that in particular case. You can use as you like or your team members are comfortable with. Now see how to position tracks and atoms. Let's learn about alignment and justification. CSS Grid provides support for alignment and justification for track and cell content. These properties are influenced by flow of HTML elements. Example, for English language it is left to right, and in Hebrew language it is right to left. In this session we will analyze this property for standard flow, that is English language from left to right flow. Till now we have used term row and column for identifying atom placement, but in the world of CSS Grid it is called as block axis or inline axis. The block axis is the axis upon which blocks are laid out in block layout. Example, here you have 2 paragraphs on your page. They are displayed one below the other. So it is the direction we describe as block axis. The inline axis run across the block axis. In this example, it is the direction in which text flows. What does alignment and justification properties do? With alignment properties, we control placement on block axis, that is in our example y-axis, and with justify property we control flow on inline axis, that is x-axis. Let's get started with aligning and justifying grid tracks. If you have a situation where your grid tracks use an area that is smaller than grid container, then you can align the grid tracks themselves inside that container. As we can see in this example, we have a grid container whose height is 600 pixel and width is 800 pixel, and we have defined 3 columns having width 200 pixel and 2 rows having height 200 pixel. That means we have 200 pixel area left in grid container both when we compare to height and width. Now let's see how we can align grid tracks. In order to control placement of tracks, we use align content and justify content properties. So align content property will help us to align tracks according to y-axis, and justify content will help us to align atom along x-axis. Let's start with align content property. So align content, and if I use value as center, you can see these tracks got moved along the y-axis and they are currently placed in the center. There are many interesting properties over here. You can try it out like center, end, or space around. You can see all tracks are placed equally, and the start and end space got equally divided. There is another property called as space between. So you can see, as here only two tracks are there, we are just seeing the one gap between two tracks. But if you have multiple rows, then it will get equally divided among the all the rows. So in this example, let's see center. Now we want to move these tracks along x-axis. So for that purpose, we use justify content property. As you can see, if I place this at center, the tracks got moved to center. Similar to align content, justify content also supports space between, space around, space evenly properties. You can try it out these properties and see which works better for your layout. Also, there is a shorthand property which combines these align content and justify content together, called as place content. Center. So let me uncheck these two properties. So as you can see, if I provide one value, then it will take this value and assign to align content and justify content. And if I assign one more value, then first value get assigned to align content and second value get assigned to justify content. You can see how easy it is to align tracks within the container. Now let's see how we can align content in the tracks. So for that purpose, we can use align items and justify items property. You have to just remember, whenever align word comes into the property, it helps to move item along y-axis. Whenever justify words comes into the property, it helps to move item along x-axis. So align item. So if I again hover over the container, you can see the items got placed in the center. You can also try to the end. So now if you hover, you can see it is placed in the end of the track. By default, this value will be stretched. So cell content will get stretched across the track. Let's use center over here. And justify items will help us to place item along the x-axis. So here there are many interesting properties like baseline, center. So if you hover over there, you can see these content are placed in the center of the cell. And like align items, by default value of this property is stretch, so that it will stretch across the width of the cell. Like align content and justify content, there is shorthand for this property as well, called as place items. If I use center over here, if I just provide one value to this property, it will take that value and apply the same value to align items and justify items. If I provide one more value, let's say end, then it will assign first value to align items and second value to justify items. Now if I hover over there, you can see the item is placed in the center of the cell, aligned to the end. What does this align items property do? It will see all the grid items and set position of each and every item according to whatever properties we have provided. But sometimes if you need some particular behavior for individual cell, then you can define that behavior using align self property. So let's take example of grid item 1. And here if I use align self, again align means control position over y-axis. So let's use stretch default property over here. So you can see the atom got stretched over y-axis. And if we want to control position over the x-axis, then we have to use justify self. And I will use same stretch property. So now you can see the atom got stretched along the x-axis. There are many interesting properties. You can try it out and see what works for you and what makes your layout beautiful and use accordingly. Like place content and place items, there is a shorthand for align self and justify self called as place self. If I just provide one value to this, you can see it will take this value and assign to align self and justify self. If I assign some another parameter to it, you can see first parameter got applied to align self and second parameter got applied to justify self. That's all for this tutorial. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to get update on latest technology videos. Thank you.